The governor of Illinois and Chicago mayor say they will fight President Trump's plan to send the National Guard to curb crime in the city of Chicago. In response to the high number of shootings in Chicago over the Labor Day weekend, President Trump called the city a, quote, hellhole, saying the city needs help, even if Illinois did not ask for it. Illinois Governor J.B. Pritzker spoke again today on the topic, saying that he's been told ICE agents will ramp up immigration enforcement this weekend, targeting community picnics and parades. But some lawmakers are saying this is a necessary move. I do want to bring in Republican Illinois State Representative Chris Miller, the chair of the Illinois Freedom Caucus, to discuss all of this just a little bit more. Thank you so much for taking the time to be here with us today.
Well, thank you very much for having me. This is an extremely important topic and a pretty hot topic right now in the state of Illinois.
And I did want to start by asking your thoughts and your opinions here about the National Guard coming to the state of Illinois, specifically there in Chicago.
Well, I think it's pretty I think that it's pretty interesting that this has to be even a controversial conversation. You know, Brandon Johnson, J.B. Pritzker, the liberal media, and the pro-crime advocates have tried to make this conversation about everything but the truth. You know, the truth is very simple. People aren't safe, and apparently the Democrats are totally fine with that. And we're very grateful for President Trump willing to weigh in on this. I mean, think about this. They stand there and claim that there's no story here, while 58 people got shot last weekend and eight fatalities. And I would be my guess that the victims of these crimes probably think this is not only a big deal, but it's necessary to do an intervention here to try to clean up this mess.
Some of the discussion here has been about that federal intervention, according to the critics there, especially Democrats, when it comes to lawmakers, that the federal intervention could actually lead to more of an uprising, more uncertainty there in the area. What do you say to folks who are maybe concerned about that?
Well, I think that a lot of this has been ginned up because of the fake news and the legacy media have been, and even J.B. Pritzker and Brandon Johnson, they've been encouraging chaos and crime, and they have very little to weigh in on this about any kind of civility here. I think that what this is, it's nothing more than a red herring to get us talking about something, you know, the legality of this, or whether this is right or wrong, or whether it's constitutional. You know, they want you to talk about everything but what's actually going on. People are being murdered. I think it's been 13 years in a row that Chicago has been the murder capital of the USA, and from the numbers that I'm looking at, they're on target to make it number 14. And it's insanity to think that this is even a topic of conversation, whether they should allow the National Guard to come in and help clean up the mess.
As I mentioned, leading in, we did hear from President Trump just yesterday and a few days ago as well. He referred to Chicago as a, quote, hellhole. Do you believe that kind of language helps or hurts efforts to address the city's challenges? Does it have any sort of impact overall?
Well, I think that we've watched President Trump. He is a very professional when it's the ability to grab headlines. And you know, and one thing about it is when you call Chicago a hellhole, that gets everybody's attention and they sit up straight and start paying attention. Where, you know, me personally might have used a different adjective to describe this, maybe a war zone, or maybe the murder capital of the world. It might have been my choice rather than an hellhole. But the bottom line of it is that it was a headline grabber and an attention getter, and people are talking about the crime in the city right now. So mission accomplished.
What would you say as far as an effective federal or state response here to gun violence in the city? We talked a little bit about Labor Day and just the number of shootings that took place there during the Labor Day weekend in Chicago specifically. So, for you personally, what does the perfect solution look like both federally and on the state level?
Well, I think that there needs to be a combined effort. I think that there needs to be full cooperation to try to fix this problem. You know, part of the problem with JB Pritzker's stance is my question is, if Joe Biden was the president and this problem was occurring, would JB Pritzker and Brandon Johnson say, that's okay, President Biden, we don't need your help? I mean, I think that this is partisan politics at its finest, and the citizens in Chicago, we've talked to a lot of them over the past several weeks, and they're more concerned about violent crime in the city than they are an American soldier being on the street corners trying to help calm down the shooting and the violence that's going on in their city. And from their perspective is they're more worried about violent crime than they are about the National Guard coming in and helping clean up the mess. And by the way, it wasn't that long ago where JB Pritzker called in the National Guard to protect the elites when they came in for the DNC about a year ago. And so this isn't like that they've never done this before to ensure the safety and security of people.
And I did want to ask you here, do you think that National Guard deployment does address the root causes here of that violence, or is it just potentially a short-term fix?
Well, I think the one thing that we'll do is give people hope. Give people hope. If I mean, we can look at what happened in D.C. and the results of what went on in D.C. were very positive, and crime rate is down. People feel safe. They're cleaning up the city, and if you just look at the model of what we saw happen in D.C. and the same results and the same outcome coming to Chicago, I think that the people are really going to like this. Well, look at the attitude of the DC mayor. She was all anti all of this. And once she started seeing the positive results, she changed her tune and is very happy that they were able to accomplish the things that they accomplished there. And I think that there will be a very much of a positive effect on this because President Trump has a history of making things better, and he will make Chicago better, and he will improve the crime rate, and everything that's going on there will get better. It's like he said when he was campaigning, what the hell do you have to lose by letting them come in and try? But I think that the results will be very positive.
All right. Thank you so much for taking the time to join us here and help to break it all down. We definitely wanted to get your opinion there as the chair of the Illinois Freedom Caucus. Anything else you want to add? Anything we missed here before I let you go?
Well, I just think that it's going to be pretty exciting to see what happens in the city of Chicago. The Democrats have been in charge of that town for a long, long time. And I think it's going to be great to see the improvements that are made just because of implementing some of the policies that President Trump's trying to implement. And I think the people of Chicago are fed up with high crime and not feeling safe. One of the primary responsibilities of our governor is to make people feel safe and secure, and he's an abject failure. He gets an F. And so my thing is we should be welcoming President Trump and ICE and all of the above to come in and try to help clean up this mess that the Democrats have created.
All right. State Rep Chris Miller, thank you so much for taking the time to join us and help discuss all of this. We appreciate it.
You bet. Thank you.